Fabasoft Folio offers the direct execution of process diagrams created in the graphical BPM editor with the Fabasoft Folio workflow engine. This gives you, the end user, the highest flexibility for modeling your workflows. In the course of this, you can use loops to model repeating tasks and sub-processes to achieve better structure, better modularisation, and higher reusability. Let's demonstrate this using a simple release process for documents. The process is defined so that the document must first be edited and then approved. If the approval is successful, then the document is published. If the approval is rejected, then the user receives an activity, not approved, in their work list. The tasks edit document and approve document, however, can be carried out multiple times, but the maximum number of iterations is 3. If the document is not approved at the third attempt, then the user receives an activity, not approved, in their work list. Furthermore, a sub-process is used in this process diagram. To be specific, it's an expanded sub-process. This means that the sub-process isn't saved as its own process diagram, but directly embedded in the superordinate process. For sub-processes and tasks with loop type standard, a loop condition can be added. The loop will run through for as long as the condition is true. But additionally, a maximum number of iterations can also be defined. The task approved document is also defined as a sub-process, but as a so-called collapsed sub-process. In this case, the sub-process is saved in its own process diagram. I want to digitally execute this process. Before I release it, I check the executability by pressing the corresponding button in the toolbar. This validation has found an error, namely that no process diagram is saved to the closed sub-process. Once I link the relevant process, the validation finds no errors. It's important to know that the sub-processes are also checked during this validation. This ensures that the process will actually run through the workflow engine error-free. Let's take a look at this approval process in detail. In this process, 2 participants need to approve the document. As soon as one participant has completed their task, it's checked whether they have approved or rejected the document. If they have rejected the approval, then the workflow no longer waits for the second participant's action. If the first participant approves the document, then the workflow waits to see if the second participant also approves it. I now close the process diagram and release the process for execution. The process symbol now changes. The symbol for the sub-process approval process has also changed. The current versions of both processes are now released, and the process can be digitally executed. The processes can now be further edited. The version released for execution is not affected by the changes until a newer version is released for execution. New processes are then executed using the most up-to-date version released for execution. I switch to a team room and start a new process for the document. I select the relevant process from the list of predefined BPMN processes. I can view the process diagram before the process is started. I can also open the sub-process. I now switch to the work list, and the first task, Edit Document, can already be executed. I open the document and can edit it. Via Finished, the document is sent for approval. I now change roles and open the respective work lists of both approvers. As soon as one participant, for example Dr. Stefan Leiner, rejects the approval, the task disappears from the other approver's work list. The document can then be edited again and sent for approval. At the second attempt, the user, Walter Hofbauer, is quicker and rejects the approval. Once again, the document is sent back for re-editing. Attempt number 3. Stefan Leiner approves the document. Now we have to wait for the approval from Walter Hofbauer. But Walter Hofbauer rejects the approval again. The maximum number of iterations has now been reached, and the user, Petra Brunner, receives the task not approved in her work list. Now we try this process with a second document. I start the process and switch to the work list. The first task is to edit the document. Now the document is sent for approval. In this case, the document is successfully approved by both approvers, and the document can be published.